Processor, 120 gig solid state drive, and 8 gig of RAM. It's preloaded with Windows 7 Pro and Office 2013. So this is like a Windows Surface tablet, but there's a software shell that runs over Windows that makes it act like an iPad. And the PC itself has two radios, one to connect on Wi-Fi networks, and then with the second, I can connect with third-party things, smartphones, tablet PCs, or other PCs. And once I connect to it, and I connect just like walking into a Starbucks and finding this hotspot, and then entering this passcode, and then there's a number of different apps that you can activate once you're connected. And one of those apps is called Control View. So when I activate Control View, then it asks for a second passcode, which is that 4-digit number up in the corner. And then I can run the Mondopad from my tablet. So I'm not tied to the board. If I'm an instructor, I can walk the room, and everything that I'm going to do at the board, including annotate, I can also do on my tablet or my iPad. So for now, we'll put that down there, but keep in mind you've got remote capability with this as well as on-screen capability. It also ships with a stylus, but we've lost the stylus. So when the stylus walks out of the room, this works. Anything that breaks the surface of the cameras will run the device.
Great.
What else can I do with Mondopad? I can do presentations with it. If this is in a conference room that multiple executives share, they can be sitting in their office. If they know they're going to do a PowerPoint in that conference room, they email the device what they want to present. The device emails them back, confirms it received their material, and it gives them a secure 4-digit code. Then they walk into the room and tap View and Share, and they're going to have a folder with their email address and a lock icon. That's Bobby's folder. I can't get in because I don't know her passcode.
I got you.
Or you can walk in with a thumb drive. There's 4 USB ports on the side. Open your thumb drive, and then whatever you want to work with. Anything that works in a Windows 7 environment will work on this. So we'll open a PowerPoint real quick. Once you've got the PowerPoint open, or whatever file you're using, you can scroll through it by touch, forwards or backwards. And then I've got a bunch of tools I can use, and I can activate the tools from that side or from this side. For example, there's a virtual laser where I can emphasize a point, and then when I emphasize the next point, the first goes away. Or I've got annotation tools where I can take notes, I can highlight, or I can do quick geometric shapes. Don't even have to write a straight line. If I took notes that I wanted the room to have right from the board, I can save what I've done. It assigns a date stamp, but if I want to name it something that might make more sense to me, it ships with a wireless keyboard, or I can bring up a virtual keyboard. I can pick the file type. JPEG or PDF is a screen grab. What you see is what you get. If I save it as an MWB file, I can reopen the file and edit my annotations. And then just like in Windows, I can pick where I want to save it. Network drive, thumb drive, or a folder on this drive. Once I've saved it, right from the board I can email. And I can preload email addresses, then tap them and go, or I can type in email addresses. So it's very easy to present something, annotate on it, save it, and email it. If I've got multiple Mondopads on the same network, they'll find each other. If I tap MP Invite, it will auto-populate with the room names you've assigned to the other Mondopads. If I tap one of those room names, in that room, a pop-up menu comes up that says this one wants to collaborate, yes or no. If they hit yes, they see this screen. As I write, they see it live. As they write, I see it live. So you could have 2 groups of architects working on a drawing at the opposite ends of a campus or facility. So any type of file that works in a Windows 7 environment will work here. If I do video and open a video file, I get 2 more tools. This is at the Portland Trailblazers, their concourse. They have 2 Mondopads, and they bring a sportscaster down to break down game film at the halftime for the guys in the beer lines. So as you can see, he's pausing video and then annotating on it, and we'll do the same with him. So it adds 2 more buttons, pause and play. We can pause him, we'll annotate on him. And then you've got the same save function, the same email function, and the same room-to-room collaboration function. So along with sports applications, police and fire will use this with YouTube videos for training, and they'll pause video, fire scenarios, annotate, and be able to email what they've done to all the people taking the training. Again, any type of file that works in a Windows 7 environment will work on this, and as you can see, we've got Excel, we've got PowerPoint, we've got images, all kinds of things. So that's the view and share portion. The second app, if you will, and I didn't mention, this software shell, I can't get at Windows. I can't get at the customer's network without an admin code.
Perfect.
So the software shell protects both this PC and the customer's network. You can customize that shell to whatever software applications that you want. So basically the owner has control of what people can do on this. So the second app is a web browser, and you can quickly bookmark sites just as you would on any web browser. The only difference is I've got that same annotation tool. So if I'm doing web design, I can say move this logo over here. Or if I'm doing YouTube training videos, I can access YouTube. And then I've got all the functions I showed you before to be able to save it, to be able to email it, and again, room-to-room collaboration. Next app is a whiteboard, and this is probably, Mondopads are used differently at different facilities, but everybody uses the whiteboard. You can do typical whiteboard things. You can have lists of topics, and you can grab things and move them. You can bring in text. And then you can quickly change it.
Nice.
And you can bring in pictures. And then move them and size them and annotate on them. If you want to add a page, just push the arrows. If you're doing brainstorming, you never run out of paper. Just dial down and extend your list. You can bring in backgrounds, and backgrounds can be solid color. They can be sporting things. For example, we'll do so we can diagram soccer plays. And I've got the same save function, all the stuff that I showed you before. This center button shows all the pages we've been working on, so I can tap to go back to another page. One of the nice things about this annotation toolbar, it does a lot, but it's pretty simple. You got pen, you got highlighter, you got shapes, you got 8 colors. You can change the thickness of what you're doing, and if you make a mistake as I did, you can quickly correct it. Or you can erase an individual thing. So it's easy to work with this whiteboard. If someone will spend 5 minutes with this toolbar, they'll pretty much get it. Next app is video conferencing. So Mondopad basically is a PC. It has a desktop client, and it's linked to a SIP-based video conferencing cloud service, Infocus.net.
Okay.
So with Mondopad, as long as I have a strong network connection, I can call any other SIP device anywhere in the world. I can also call any H.323 device. So Infocus.net service is free the first year. I can make unlimited point-to-point calls anywhere. Second year is only $295, so it's not an expensive service. We'll call Infocus's lobby, and along with SIP devices, we can call H.323 devices. So we're calling a life-size video conferencing endpoint in Portland, Oregon. That's our lobby, and you have pretty good bandwidth here.
Yep.
Because the video's nice and clear.
We
That's
got
My service manager, Dave Duncan, Mary working on a Mondopad, people walking around. They've got the sound muted because people are always calling in, but if they turn around, hey Dave, they can see us, hey Mary. So when we make a call and we go back to the other apps, the call goes with us.
Right.
So I can position it where it's not blocking information, and we can
Gary's on if you want to call him.
bring up anything. And right now they see us and they would hear us if it wasn't muted. But if I hit share, they hear us and they see whatever's on my Mondopad. So I can toggle between voice and video and voice and content, even if it's not another Mondopad on the far end. And then I can bring it back. Again, I can position it, and we can go to the web, or we can go to any of our files. I have the ability to push content to the far end, even though it's not another Mondopad. So this is point to point. We also offer bridge services. So if the client wants 6-way capability or 12-way capability, that's something we have on our price sheet. To give you an example, 6-way unlimited is $2,200 a year for standard definition video. Now, one thing to keep in your mind is bandwidth. You've got good bandwidth here, so we've got good quality video. This camera is a 720p camera, even though the display's 1080p, and that's a compromise for bandwidth. You need 1.5 meg up down to look like this. If you've got 2 or more, we offer a 1080p camera with pan, tilt, and zoom. So if you've got ample bandwidth, you can upgrade this. So we'll say goodbye to those guys. You say Gary's home?
Gary's home, man.
We'll try something that we can talk.
All right, okay.
So we're calling one of Rob's associates. He's got an Infocus video phone. So again, we're calling another SIP device. Hey Gary. So you can hear us now. We got good bandwidth.
Yeah, much better now.
So just like before, we can go with Gary back here. And then Gary, right now, you see and hear us. What do you see now?
I see what could be like a church, right signature.
Might be a church. Anyway, you get the idea. Thanks, Gary.
All right.
Thanks.
See you, man. So with the 50-watt soundbar, you can fill up a 40-foot room, and these mics are 10 to 40 feet range. If you've got a bigger room, we've got other mics. Remember, any USB-based device that Windows has drivers for can be strung up with this. You got 6 USB ports, so you can modify this if you have needs beyond just the standard. So the next thing I want to show you, remember I mentioned this is a shell, and I can't get to Windows. So from extras, this is sort of the gateway to Windows. Normally this is locked up. When we set up, I unlocked it. So to get in, I've got an admin code. This can be 4 or 6 digits. So for our sales samples, we make them easy for us old guys to remember the number. Now I've got 2 new buttons. One is minimize, and this is just a Windows PC now. So when you're demonstrating this, if you show the IT department, they'll be wondering, what is this thing? Once they see this screen, they go, hey, I know how to configure this to my network. I know how to load my preferred security software to it. And in fact, anything that works in a Windows 7 environment, you can load. If your customer wants to do Skype, fine, load it. Go to meeting, fine, load it. A CAD CAM program, if it works in Windows 7, it'll work on this. Then the rest of the setup, where you customize the Mondopad, is bookmarked on the web browser, even though the site's actually on this hard drive. It's the same admin passcode, so people can't get in easily and change things. And this is where I customize it.
Okay.
So I register someone at the customer as an owner with their email address, then they're emailed when there's software updates, or you can get in here and check for updates. And this one's up to date, so it's fine. From email, it will automatically provision with an email address that's the Infocus SIP number, but I can turn that off and then put in my preferred email address, building 1, room 102 at some FIU edu or whatever. From the home screen, since this is a Windows 7 PC, if they want to use Infocus.net, that's fine. It's free the first year. if they already have Tandberg in place or Polycom in place, Polycom has a desktop client called Real Presence. I can load that on here and then uncheck that and our video button disappears. And then I go to extras and any third-party software, Skype, GoToMeeting, Polycom Real Presence, when you load it, it appears here. If you check in front of it, that shortcut goes on the home screen.
Gotcha.
So the owner controls what people have access to and what they can do. And the cool thing about this, we hope people will use Infocus.net. It's a good service, but they're not tied to it.
Okay.
They can use it for a year or 6 months and then switch to something else. I have customers, University of Virginia Hospital has 4 of these, and they're in huddle rooms where they do consulting with rural doctors who have no video conferencing. All they have is Skype. So they use this to call university clients, but then they activate Skype if they're consulting with rural doctors. It works. So you can really customize the Mondopad. We have customers that use Microsoft Link. We have customers that use all sorts of things, WebEx. You've got the capability to do whatever kind of SIP-based video conferencing you want to. So again, it's an all-in-one device. People will use the whiteboard every day. People may use the browser frequently. They'll certainly do presentations. On top of that, the monitor itself has 2 HDMI, VGA, component composite YC. So lots of people will run a cable feed to HDMI and it's a television when you're not using the PC.
Okay.
And if they have a Crestron or AMX control system, it has RS-232 where you can control monitor functions. I can toggle HDMI 1, HDMI 2 from a Crestron touchpad.
Right.
So that's basically it. You like it?
I like it. We've done touch panel solutions in the past, whiteboards or what have you. And for the most part, everything is a la carte. You have to buy a separate computer, put it on. You do not have the ability to lock out computers, so you're basically working with a Windows environment that sometimes the touch panels are a little bit touchy. You'll notice that when people do a demo, even the instructors, they'll start to do a demo and they'll hit it 2 times, and people who are savvy will understand that it's not working for them and they'll quickly move on to something else. Even on TV, you'll see the telestrator guy, it's not working for him, he'll move on to the next thing because his demo didn't work.
Yeah.
So I haven't seen that happen here, so it's definitely a fine-tuned product. I like the shell that you're able to work outside the computer and not in the computer.
Yep.
Makes it easy and dummy-proof. So also the functionality of being open platform to your Skypes and what have you, because that's another thing that you a la carte these things and you put on an a la carte camera, an a la carte microphone, and a this and a that, and then you got software and driver compatibility issues, and then you got it doesn't work, and then you have to get them on the phone, reboot the system, download a new driver. Did you do a Windows update? Okay, you killed that. What did you put in there? What? I'm tired of it.
I will tell you, you know, this product is 3 years old. We've gone through all of that.
Right.
If you saw me demoing 3 years ago, it was a different experience.
Right.
This is the 18th version of software for this. So we've cleaned up a lot of bugs over 3 years. Also, this is the 2nd generation PC. What we're shipping now is an i7. This is actually an i5. This has 4 gig of RAM. The new ones have 8. So if you buy it now, it's getting the i7 and the 8 gig. It's much faster.
Right.
So the experience, this gray hair came from 3 years ago. It's pretty cool now.
Nice.
You know, nothing with Windows is bomb-proof, but this is as close as I've seen.
Right.
This hangs up less than my laptop.
Gotcha. Now, the app that you had on there for controlling that is something you download from iTunes or something like that?
Yeah, exactly. So if you have an iPad, go to iTunes. It's Infocus Control View. It's free. There's another one called Infocus Connect. So with Connect, it just mirrors what's here to my device. iPhone, Droid phone, tablet, any smart device. That's if you're in a room that this maybe isn't big enough for the back row. They can find the hotspot, put in the super secret 8-1 passcode, then their device is connected, then they activate Connect, it just brings what's here to their device. They can't do anything with it, just see. Control View, same series, find it, passcode, activate Control View, activate this number. Every time you turn this unit on and off, that number changes. So the idea is you have to be in the room, and then with Control View, one only. If all of us had iPads, first guy on owns it.
Okay,
and then one guy has to, that's in a professor, we don't, you know, the kids will figure this out in a heartbeat. You don't want the kid hijacking the professor's PowerPoint.
Right, right.
So with control view, it's 1, connect could be 100.
Okay.
And then,
Beautiful.
unfortunately with Apple devices, you have to buy AirPlay. You can load Air Server free on this. You have to buy AirPlay on your device. And then you can mirror what's on your iPad up here if you want, wirelessly. For PC and Droid, there's an app resident here. So with your PC, if you connect, you get 2 choices, screen view or downloads. If you click on downloads, it brings an applet to you where you can wirelessly present on your laptop. Now you lose all these features, but your laptop, you don't have to run an HDMI cable if you have a visitor that wants to just show stuff from his laptop to this.
Right, right.
It's really well thought out, and I wish we could take the credit for it. This 1.8 looks nothing like 1.0. Customers told us we wish it would do X or Y or Z, and if it can be added in with software, we do it. So software 2.0 is being released to the field guys in the next 2 weeks, and it probably around Infocus it'll be released to the field. So software updates are free as long as the unit's in warranty, and 2.0 had some pretty nice features. So if you remember when we called Gary, we had to toggle between voice and video and voice and content. That's only been a feature for about the last 6 months, but people use it and wish that they didn't have to toggle. So we're giving split screen or dual monitor support. So if you've got a second monitor and you can go USB and HDMI to the second monitor, I can have the whiteboard running, I can push it to the second monitor, and I can do video on the first. And if I only have one monitor, instead of toggling, I can do split screen or PIP. So those are 2 nice features. And then the other cool thing that we're doing, and I don't know that your users will use it, but you may use it, is we're doing an iTunes app for iPhones where from my iPhone it's a SIP client that I can call the Mondopad. And the cool thing for that, if you've got field techs out in the field that are having an issue, they can call on the iPhone to the Mondopad, talk to an engineer, and then he can push drawings out to their device, or they can camera to a rack that they're having trouble cabling. And you've got good communication for construction company guys or AV tech guys with this features. Yeah. Once they got their Mondopad up and running, we'll do a 2-hour or 4-hour block, and we've got a standard routine. It's live through Portland. You got another person on a Mondopad, and they'll do about half of that time period standard routine, and then the customer fills out a questionnaire with how they intend to use it, and they'll try and customize the second half.